Well, well, well. How do you even begin to explain the level of frustration with we all were preparing ourselves for disappointment with this black eye, but never ever could we have predicted this. Ever. It's never ever happened in the history of Housewives. Because let me say this, if there's anyone I haven't checked her social media, I haven't checked her Twitter, I haven't seen what the pro Heather people are saying, which if I were to take a guess, I'm gonna guess it's something like, why is no one concerned for Heather because she's protecting someone? Why are they more concerned with finding out what happened in the gossip and not what happened to her and who she's protecting? I'm sure it's something like that, okay? If Heather really is trying to protect herself, she would have just said, I fell last night. It's so embarrassing. I fell and hurt myself. Because that's what, and I hate to say this analogy, but that's what domestic abuse victims do. I fell. But instead, she's on camera in front of Meredith saying, not even just, even she's intentionally changing her story in front of everybody. So even though she wasn't saying in front of everyone, I need a cover story, she's practically saying that to everyone. I don't know what happened. Okay, I know what happened. We don't know what happened. Well, it got rough. I don't know what happened. I don't want to make this about my black eye, you guys. I don't know. I don't know what happened. So you want us to keep asking? If you really wanted it to end, you would end it. You would have just woke up. You would have said, I fell and I scratched myself. Also, how come they have footage of everyone coming in her room at 4:50 or whatever it said, like 4:50 a.m.? How come they have that footage and they have them leaving? But they don't have any further footage. They don't have footage of her leaving to go get these scratches or some person coming in to give her these scratches. They have footage of that because they have it of her room. They have the camera didn't cut off. They have that footage. So who came in her room or when did she leave? I want to know when did she leave her room again then to go get those? Who came in her, you know what I mean? They have that same camera footage. So someone either came in or she left. So they don't want us to see that for a reason. I'm not buying that they don't have that. At least that, Okay, wow. This season of Salt Lake City has taken a very dark turn. Well, let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. Here at She Speaks Bravo, we believe that Bravo TV is a great form of self-care and therapy. Look at me. I've been using it for over a decade, and I am a complete mess. Oh, that's me, by the way. I'm Emily. I'm your host on this journey, and I speak Bravo, as I'm sure most of you do too.
What is this, honey?
I love that.
If you're not already subscribed, get subscribed and hit that notification bell because I'm releasing new episodes at least 3 times a week.
Clip! You fool!
That's my opinion!
I talk Bravo, I talk true crime, and sometimes I talk a little scripted. So whatever you're here for, I hope you enjoy the show. So, okay, episode 12 is called White Lies and Black Eyes. I don't even like them making fun of it. I don't even like them doing a play on words with it. It's all in very poor taste. So they start the episode with that typical last time on, but then they do this really like staccato rewind thing showing what happened the night before. And so it starts lucid-ish, showing Jen and Heather's fight. Then it gets a little fuzzier with Whitney and Heather fighting. Then they get to the club and it's really starting to get, more and more fuzzy. Then it's like a mess when they get back to the house and everyone's wasted at the house. And the details are getting fuzzier and fuzzier. And then it's a blackout as Heather opens the door to someone who's like messing with the handle. And here, okay, someone went through all that trouble to do that interesting cold open. That cold open would have had a very big impact if we hadn't got this next part, which is the preview we got. They released this preview early. So I feel bad for the editor that put all that time into the suspense tension building intro. Because we're like, yeah, dude, we know what happened. We already saw it. Thanks, though. So they're, waking up in the morning and Heather texts Jen, come to my room. Excuse me. She takes her glasses off and Jen, is Jen surprised? I would say she is surprised in a way that is not pure shock. It is not in the way everyone else is surprised. I think we can all agree to that, right? I think we can all agree to that, right? So she goes, what happened? And Heather very believably says, this is our first introduction to this. She says, I don't know. Jen gets closer to it and she asks if she can touch it. Does it hurt? Heather says, yes. Jen asks if she put ice on it. And Heather's response is to kind of laugh and put her head in her hands. And like, this is... So Jen then notices the scratches on her hand and arm. And Heather's first reaction is that it's lipstick. And Jen says, that's not lipstick. What the fuck happened? Heather says, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, Jen. But that's why I need you to help me figure out if someone wants to talk about what really happened last night. We need a cover story is what I'm saying right now. And instantly Jen says, like a spider laid eggs in your eyeball. Okay. It's going to take me a minute to get through these parts, guys, because okay. The fact that Jen is so quick to come up with an excuse, if you really had no fucking idea what happened to your friend, wouldn't you need more time to process? If you left your friend and they had no black eye, and then you wake up the next day and they have a black eye and scratches, you would need a lot more time to process before coming up with a spider laid eggs in your eyeball. So to me, the immediacy of her excuse. And then I'm confused why Heather isn't happy with the suggestion. Like, she isn't she's annoyed. She goes, we need a good cover story for this eye because I don't want to get any of the ladies. I don't want any of the ladies to get in any trouble. What are you alluding to What are you dangerously alluding to here? What are you very, very dangerously alluding to here? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, why are you willing to allude to this possibly being one of the ladies? First, you need a good cover story. Now you're willing to throw that out there? Whoa. And so now Jen is right here with, okay, what's our cover story? You don't know what happened. And Heather now is using that tone. I don't know what happened. Okay, I don't know what happened. Jen, right? Yeah, I don't know what happened. Let's get Meredith in here. They get Meredith. Heather takes her sunglasses off, sees Meredith's very shocked face, and says, "Is it obvious?" In this really annoying way, like real cunty. I'll say it. I'll say it. Real cunty. You know, like, why is this funny? This isn't funny. This is okay. So Meredith says, well, like by the way, I like that Meredith says, what happened? We were with you until 3 a.m. And then they flash the security footage. And didn't the security footage say 4:50 a.m.? I could have swore it did. And maybe that's what she was trying to say. Oh, that's what she was trying to say for cameras, wasn't she? She said, that's probably what it was, right? And then they're like, gotcha, bitch. But this very security camera should have then caught whoever else came in or when Heather left. So I'm confused. So then Meredith sees the scratches on Heather's arm and asks if Heather has any scratches on her back. Heather says yes. Meredith keeps asking, how did this happen? How did this happen? And Heather mouths, I don't want to talk about it. She mouths that, therefore indicating, I know how this happened. I don't want to talk about it. Hence to therefore, ask me more about it. Again, if you don't want to talk about it for real, I can come up with a cover story real easy. We all were coming up with cover stories. As soon as we saw this in the trailer, we were like, so she fell. Okay, she fell down. It was a drunken mistake. Easy. Then Heather thinks it's funny to more loudly start going, I don't know what happened. I don't recall, with a fucking smile on her face. What world are we in? Okay. I'm getting off that because we're going to keep going back to it. So I'm getting off it right now. I don't want to be on it anymore because it's horribly frustrating. All right. So Lisa goes into Whitney's room in the morning. Obviously, it's the morning. Hi, Emily. Narrate it. Thank you. Whitney, obviously, she didn't feel like she got anywhere with Heather, but she's like, who I'm really disappointed with is Meredith. She goes, you remember how I used to call you the puppet master, Lisa? Well, that is what I'm thinking Meredith is doing. And she basically says that Meredith is doing what LVP did. Meredith is being able to say, I didn't say it because she didn't say it. She alludes and she gets the other person to say it. Okay. This is so Brandy LVP adjacent. Okay. Someone like a Brandy or a Whitney who are eager to get a spot on the show, who are eager to be messy. This doesn't take away their fault in it at all. But when they go rogue, you better watch out because they got all your secrets and you really underestimate them. You don't picture them going rogue because they don't really have a lot of power. Whitney didn't have any power. No one was believing Whitney. Whitney was an idiot. You know, like, so when Whitney goes rogue and starts to expose things that you can't really expose Meredith because, again, she hasn't technically said it. So she has deniability, Meredith. So it's perfect because you can just be like, Whitney, what are you talking about? It's a brilliant crime. And it happened with Brandy. Brandy a million times had to be like, you're so good at it. Like, I know it seems like I'm just, no one's going to believe me, basically. And Lisa could maintain it. And she did. Now, don't get me started on how much better Lisa Vanderpump is at it than Meredith. But still, there is very much a parallel to the tactic and the method. Because Meredith is very clunky at this. She's not very good at this at all. And she's only in season 3. Girl, this is her first season really doing it too. I think she was kind of doing it a little bit last season towards the end, perhaps. But she's definitely doing it this season and she's way more obvious. Even though when I do go back now and watch Beverly Hills, knowing what I know, Lisa's pretty obvious, but I was blind to it the first time watching. So Lisa's like, what was her plan to get you guys to what? And Whitney says it was her plan to get them to say bad stuff about Lisa. Lisa's purple satin robe is very chic in this moment. So they do a confessional with Lisa talking about all of this, Meredith being vengeful stuff. And it's like over one mistake and, this whole thing. And then the next cut is Whitney being like, you want a shot? And now they're dressed and ready to go. It was an interesting transition. Lisa's like, do you have one? Let's do a shot. I love your outfit. When you understand Lisa and can enjoy her, she really is everything. Remember how much Whitney was just triggered? I mean, granted, Lisa wasn't being very nice to Whitney in the beginning. But now that they are friends, Whitney's like, yeah, much better choice here than Heather. Heather is walking, so she's walking by the windows and the music changes. Like they have like a monster coming in. I was like, you didn't need to do her dirty like that, guys. Like, I'm not her biggest fan, but I'm sure production's pissed at her. I'm sure production's like, really? Oh, really? I also got some tea that because Heather doesn't say what happened, and she, at one point, I guess she's sort of alluding to it could have even possibly been a crew member. Bravo had to launch a full-scale investigation into it. But a deep investigation did occur because she wouldn't say who it was. So I bet they were not very happy with her. And remember, Bravo execs get the final edit. So they may have been like, add a monster music, like a real villain, scary horror element as soon as she comes, as soon as you see her walking in. Jen's pigtails and Meredith's red fringe dress were a lot. I'm like, all right, so it's like they're playing characters. They're like, they want to look like they're the bad guys. So they're sitting around talking about what they're going to do that day. And Whitney goes, what happened last night? Because I heard commotion and no one came into my room with titties in my face. And that's just because Lisa talked about how Jen burst into her room and put her tits in her face and was like smothering her. And I'm going to say something. I'm all for having a good time. But at my age, if you burst into my room and laid on me with your bare tits in my face when I was like trying to go to bed, I wouldn't be like, yay, this is fun. I'd be like, okay, this is stupid. Like, I'm actually going to choke and die. Like this. And Lisa actually might have had just cause to think Jen was trying to kill her. So it might have been actually quite terrifying for Lisa in that moment. Actually, think about that some more. She may have been truly terrified. That might have actually been like a near-death experience for Lisa. Now that I think about it. Oh, God. So again, sorry, I'm going to go back to this. Whitney's like, so what happened last night? And Heather, wearing sunglasses, mind you. So she could have just been like, it was wild. Instead, she goes, we're not sure what happened last night, but we know things got a little rough. Whitney says, what do you mean? Heather says, well, I think we all know what happened. I just think we don't want to talk about it. Lisa says, wait, what happened? And Heather takes her glasses off. Obviously, the room is shocked to see she has a huge black eye. Heather's confessional, the producer asks her, how do you think it happened? And she takes a long pause and says, kind of pissed. She goes, well, what does it look like? What does it look like? I'm just going to shut down and I don't want to talk about it. Listen, if you didn't want to talk about it, there are plenty of ways to do that. I repeat, plenty. Okay? Plenty. Plenty. I know from experience, when I didn't want to talk about a bruise or two, there are plenty of ways. So that is why this is extremely upsetting. Because you want attention at this point, and you're using a real sick way to get it, but then you're also weaponizing it against people. And we will get into the after show. Oh, yeah, we will. Okay, bitch, we will. So Heather to the group now says, we don't know. We don't know? Who's we? Who's we don't know? Lisa goes, you're joking. Because as she points out, Lisa points out in her confessional, she just said, we all know what happened. You just said we all know what happened. Okay. Then this bitch goes, Heather goes, I don't think it's that noticeable. Like, and now she's removing her glass. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Now you're mocking them with the black eye? You want to talk about it. You want to. Okay. So Lisa says, you look like somebody clocked you. And Heather says, well, maybe they did, and they don't want to talk about it. Whitney says, did someone hit you? Heather laughs. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to make the trip all about my black eye, honestly. Okay. This is really bad. I'm going to keep moving. Whitney's in her confessional. She's like watching Heather laugh at this and allude to the fact that someone did hit her is making me sick to my stomach. Heather goes, what is it? How do I like to deal with things, you guys? And Lisa's real. She's like, sweep it under the rug. It's like Lisa's excited she got the answer right. She's like, I know this one. I actually know something about someone else. Oh my God. Heather likes to sweep things under the rug. I got it. Yay. So Whitney's confessional, she said if someone did that to her in this group, that's a problem. Like if someone here in this group among us, Jen, that's a problem. But no, we're just going to sweep it under the rug. Okay, keeping it going. We're keeping it going. They're in San Diego. So I guess they already did a boat. I'm not calling that a yacht. It was a boat. And so I guess there isn't a whole lot to do in San Diego. So they do go-karting. You guys, you go-karted around San Diego and you just drove around some streets. There was nothing scenic about this. You like, it's like you went running errands with people. You passed by a couple liquor stores. Was there a CVS on the way? You picked up some nail polish remover? What the hell? Heather goes, I want to go with Lisa because she's just going to talk about herself the whole time, so she won't even ask about my eye. But then they cut to Lisa. She's like, I got this really cheesy white dress. And John's like, how much was that? And I'm like, $800. And he's like, it looks like 80. And so, well, Heather's confessional. She's like, I want to go with Lisa because she's not going to even remember that I'm there. Wow. You guys, this just means that Heather needs that much attention. She wants people to ask about her eye, and she picks to go with Lisa, secretly hoping she will ask about her eye. But she doesn't, because Lisa is not going to play into Heather's game. Lisa's like, you don't want to talk about your eye? You want to sweep it under the rug? That's fine. I'm not asking about your eye. I'm not asking about it. She's not going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about myself, because honestly, that's why I stay happy all the time, is because I'm living in a world that is this simple. And to me, that's why she's so funny. That's why I think we all are obsessed with Lisa right now, is because there isn't anything much deeper than what you get from Lisa. And I think that's why it's confusing for someone like Heather. Because it is deeper than that. It's like, you can't really seriously mean you think you sang Away in a Manger well. And she's like, what? I did. And then she's over it. And then she moves on. And then she's truly just in her next little world of like, I really want these shoes. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm going to keep going, because I could go into a whole rant about why Lisa's funny. Jen terrifyingly hops in Dana's cart. I was scared. I'm like, she's going to shank Dana. This cruising around San Diego was like, it was dark. I was like, God, this is why they have to take international trips on Housewives, because this is dark. But then there is a little bit of curiosity about the eye, and Dana asks Jen about Heather's eye, and Jen's like, it looks like someone punched her. I'm like, okay. Angie says that she thought she fell, but it's like not bruised in the right places. And then they cut over to Lisa, and she's like, I have like my shoes stacked in this certain order. And John's like, do you want this? I'm like, no, I want to dress myself. And so it's perfect for Heather. Whitney at one point gets stuck horizontal and is holding up traffic because she doesn't know how to reverse. And whoever's blocking her has to physically push her and get her back on track. She's like, thank you, sir. And then they pull in, and that was the end of the activity. And they were like, would you have fun? And I'm like, they just drove around at the speed limit with everyone else. What the fuck? So Meredith booked a winery and then a couple other people. So they're going to split up. The rollerblading, they think it's rollerblading. It's going to be Dana, Whitney, and Lisa. And Meredith, Angie, Jen, and Heather are going to go to the winery. Whitney's very freaked out because it's very different to roller skate and rollerblade. But Lisa's like, oh my God, I used to roller skate all the time in 6th grade. I love when people reference things like that, because it's such a long time ago. But maybe it is like muscle memory. I am one of the people that the phrase, it's like riding a bicycle. I'm like, we need to change that. Because when I hadn't ridden a bicycle in a while and tried to ride a bicycle, I had a hard time. Okay? I was terrified. They get ice cream and they stop and they talk a little bit about Heather's eye. Whitney's theory is that it was Jen. This is her theory in the confessional, though. Simultaneous conversation happening over at the winery. Meredith tells Heather, and actually Meredith's energy in this is correct. So I was grateful that someone was bringing this energy to the table. She will not maintain this energy in the after show, but we will get to that later. Meredith tells Heather that whatever happened to her is not okay and really concerning. Heather says, just respect. I don't want to talk about it right now. We'll talk about it later. It's nothing you should worry about. But she's not, I'm saying it more seriously. She's like, it's nothing you should worry about, though. It's nothing you should worry about. Ugh. But Meredith lets her know you're not sleeping alone tonight. That's all we know. In Heather's confessional, the producer says, so you're not going to tell us what happened. And Heather says, well, I can't. And that's the game of all of this. Game? I'm not going to say it until somebody else says it. You know what I mean? No, we don't. I'm not going to spew my theories until everybody else spews theirs. What the fuck are you saying? What are you fucking saying, you psychopath? This is just a game of Texas Hold'em and nobody is showing their cards? I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose my mind. Okay. Well, how is this a game of Texas Hold'em? Why are you enjoying this so much? Okay. Breathe, Emily. Okay. Whew. Then Heather tries her hardest to basically use this moment of compassion that everyone's feeling for her to guilt the Whitney stuff. Okay, so this segue is bizarre. She says that, when I woke up with this black eye, the first person I text was you. And normally I would have called Whitney right away. But when I found out last night that we were on a friendship break, where was this going? Okay, so Whitney's the reason you got the black eye. I get what you were trying to do here. Okay. I get what you were trying. You tried to tie it all together. There was no reason to connect those two things at all. Okay. None. And then this monologue, you guys, I wrote it all down because it's ridiculous. And she told on herself. I go to her and say the petty, dumb things that don't matter. But now she wants a fresh start with Lisa. Great, do that. But don't bring me into it. Don't tell Lisa everything we've ever said about her because now I don't trust you, Whitney. So you're saying that all this time you've been blaming Lisa for not liking you. You've actually hated Lisa just as much as you claim Lisa hated you. You've been talking all this shit about her, and yet you've been the one playing the victim, even up until your most recent Watch What Happens Live appearance, when someone called in and said something like, how come you and Lisa can't work it out? And you said, well, it's because Lisa doesn't like me. And actually, Andy busted you and said, but didn't you say you hate her or you can't stand her? Didn't you say that? She's like, well, whatever. And then she says, but the truth is because right after she says, because now I don't trust you, Whitney. But then she doesn't, because Heather cannot figure out who her character is anymore. She's lost her own plot. She goes, but the truth is I love her and our friendship is so effortless. Really? So I just give her grace in it. She's been giving me a lot of information. She's been going through a lot. Justin losing his job. How are you giving her grace? Okay, then Jen interrupts. As soon as she says Justin losing his job, Jen finds the weirdest segue. She says, well, maybe there's a reason that they're bonding. Justin lost his job and, Lisa has stuff too. There's an SEC filing. And Meredith's like, oh, that's true. Yes, I think that's true. A crowdfunding where Lisa's the richest bitch out of all of us, but she's trying to crowdfund for $25,000. And Meredith can't wait to jump in on this one. The whole thing is very strange to me because I don't understand why they have to reach out for 25 grand on crowdfunding, and in it they have to disclose everything. They have to disclose their debts, and they have a loan from, and they have to beep it out. That's way below market value. She loves this. It's sickening how much she loves this. So they cut over to Dana, who's then telling Lisa and Whitney about how Meredith told herself, Angie H., and Heather about the Vita crowdfunding SEC filing situation. Meredith's favorite thing to say about this is it is a public document, and it also shows that they are not making any money, and everything else that she's saying about everybody else. Lisa lets everybody know this is not on Vita. It's on a brand that they own that, quote, that has one outlet that we sell nationwide. I have no idea what that means. Literally none. They have one outlet. I don't know. Then Lisa goes, I have my POs on my phone. She's going to have to sell a lot of jewelry to make one of my POs. I had to look that up. That is purchase orders. I didn't. Okay. Lisa points out that Meredith said families, businesses, etc., they were off limits. Well, maybe they're not anymore. Lisa said that I had mental health issues. No, I don't pop pills, bitch. You do. Well, that's fucking apparent. Honestly, though. Now, Meredith, Angie, Heather, and Jen are on the van ride back home. Angie asks for clarity on the SEC filing because it does sound sketchy, right? If you don't know what an SEC filing is and the way they're presenting it makes it sound sketchy. And so it's the Security Exchange Commission, and it's essentially for small companies that need money to get started. That's how they're presenting it. And Angie asks Meredith, like, are you close enough with Lisa to ask, like, why she would do that? And Meredith goes, I don't care. Yes, you do. And Heather's going like, it's just shocking, you know, because she thought that Vita was doing so well. And Lisa says she's richer than all of them. They hate that Lisa's line, I'm fucking richer than all of you, became so iconic. They hate that Lisa's lines become iconic. It's just driving them so fucking nuts. They quote Lisa all the time. Like some of Heather's moments are quoting Lisa Barlow, which is cheating, by the way. So they look at the SEC filing, and it says for Jack Henry Spirits, and it shows that they made negative $16,000, which really isn't that negative. I think taking a loss is actually a good thing for like tax purposes. I've heard from rich people, so that didn't shock me. Meredith is slurring at this point really bad. She's like, I don't count someone else's money, but you want to sit there and say, I'm the richest bitch and you can't afford a home and your husband can't keep a job? Fuck you. I had to subtitle that. So I was like, what? When she said can't afford a home, she barely got that word out. But I mean, I will say, finally, Meredith, wake up and give it to me. Get pissed off because you won't do this to Lisa. You'll do this behind her back. You're not confrontational. You won't give us a scene until it's forced out of you. You could have done this earlier in the season, but instead you gave us this weird regal thing. Better than. But anyway, they get home at 9 p.m. and Angie is going to host her Greek goddess night. I would be starving. Angie goes into Lisa's room. They look gorgeous in their goddess looks. And Angie asks how her day was. And Lisa goes, I was shocked, Ange. And then she tells the story about Dana's story, Meredith and the business filing, etc. And Angie's like, okay, I'm glad you said that. And then she tells what happened in the bus. And then also adds in, she's like, and everybody said that John doesn't work. Lisa gasps at that part. That's the part she's more offended by. Don't ever fuck with John Barlow, okay? John Barlow is her sacred person. So now it's dinner time. Heather comes out with a custom eye patch and Whitney asks where she got it. And literally Heather says, I don't want to talk about it. You don't even want to talk about the eye patch. The eye patch? For crying out loud. Jen is like, I'm dressed as the goddess of war and I'm prepared for battle. And Lisa's like, are you fighting your friends or your enemies? And it's like a moment. Meredith enters and she's like, hi, everybody. And Lisa does this over the top hi. And then she looks over to Dan and she's like, so fake. I have a hard time with that. And Jen is on alert, right? She goes, you have a hard time with what? Lisa goes, everything. Jen's like, what is going on? You're like all grumpy. And now I'm loving this. Lisa is done. She's fucking done. And I'm obsessed because now she's doing the thing that you can't fight. She's like, nothing. I'm not grumpy. Nothing. And it is such a passive aggressive thing that I normally hate. But with these bitches at this point, do it. Fucking do it. Angie's grand entrance is ridiculous and it's really annoying. However, when she goes, I'm approaching, that's actually a Karen Walker line from Will and Grace from back in the day. And I was like, fine. I enjoyed it. And Zeus and Hercules, the guys that she hired, did a great job. Very well done. She gives a nice toast and then she gives them all evil eye necklaces. And then Heather asks about their day. And they're like, oh, Dana's like, we went roller skating, we got ice cream. And Lisa's like, yeah, we got ice cream and had a very informative conversation. And Whitney is not afraid. She said, so let me ask you something. Who brought up the SEC filing about Lisa? Who brought that up? And Lisa's like, why is everybody so worried that I have an SEC filing? And Meredith goes, well, nobody's really worried about it. Now, Lisa gives me the intensity I needed. She looks at Meredith. She goes, did you talk about me and my businesses? Meredith goes, only in passing. What? How do you only talk about something in passing? What does that mean? And Heather's like, wow, we're going from 0 to 60. Shut up, Heather. Shut up right now. You shut up. Shut up. So Lisa explains the SEC filing. She's like, this is not Vita Tequila. That is Tequila Ciudad. If you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. But I think it's funny that you guys all want to chit chat about me. Meredith goes, oh, Lisa, you want to chit chat about everyone. Please, honey. And Lisa goes, oh, please, I had one bad moment in our whole friendship. And Meredith, her head is bobbing uncontrollably. And she does that when I swear, when she doesn't really know what her point is. She goes, no, it was not one moment. And don't go there. And Lisa mocks her and goes, don't go there. What are you going to do? Talk more gossip about me and say my husband doesn't have a job? Don't talk to me. That was really hard to do Lisa's voice doing Meredith's voice. I can't wait to hear how Ronnie and Ben do it on Crappens, because that's a challenge. Meredith is like, your husband has a job. He works with you. You guys have a company. No one disputes that. And Lisa takes, she should have run this by Angie, I gotta say. She goes, Angie, is that true? Heather's confessional is once again very much like, know your fucking place. And the fact that first it was, this is the second time with Angie. Yeah, second time with Angie. You think you're going to endear yourself to Lisa by telling her about her SEC filing? That's embarrassing. Pretend you didn't hear it. Pretend she's rich. That's what she likes. Ooh, I don't like it. So then Heather says to Angie, it's in poor taste to host a dinner and stir up trouble right before it starts. Okay, girl. Yeah. Tell me again about poor taste. Who's your best friend? Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. Angie's like, it made me uncomfortable in the car to hear you all talking shit about Lisa, who is supposedly your friend. Lisa's like, so what was the point of doing all that? To show me like what a bad person I am, show the flaws in myself? And Meredith goes, the point is you want to sit and question my husband's business? So it was revenge, huh, Meredith? So it was revenge. You didn't just happen to mention it in passing. The point, you just said the point was she wants to bring up your husband's business, so you're going to bring up hers. That's how you were going to finish that sentence, right? That's what you're going to say. And Lisa goes, I wasn't questioning your business. I said something ridiculous in a rant. And then Meredith's now pointing and crazy. She goes, yes, and you endangered the livelihood of his 400,000 employees. That is reckless. When she's doing the thing with her head where she tilts it and she looks with her eyeballs. She leads with her eyeballs. God, for crying out loud. I hate that we're back here at this thing. Lisa asks what more she can do regarding the rant. And then they go back and forth. It wasn't a rant. It was a tirade. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. So that they don't keep going back to the same place. What can I do? And Meredith goes, I told you months ago and you ignored me and you turned it on me. And so Lisa's like, what did I turn on you? What did I turn on you? And you accused me of calling you mentally ill. And that is extraordinarily disgusting of you to say that I said that, because I did not. Flashback to Meredith absolutely suggesting that Lisa needs professional help. I don't purport to be a doctor. The fuck does that mean then, other than she needs help? So nice try, though. Again. Lisa's yelling, so instead of resolution, let's just sit around and talk shit, right? There's a choice. We can move forward or we can talk shit. Meredith says, I told you we could move forward. Lisa says it doesn't feel that way. If you're a friend, you don't try to make someone look bad. Whitney goes, well, so it depends on the intentions. Lisa looks over and goes, you're a lawyer. You should know about intentions. Meredith goes, yes, I've seen your intentions, Lisa. Thank you. Meredith then claims it's been a multitude of things. And in her confessional, she lists said multitude of things. Okay? Let me go through these. Okay, here we go. Little things over the years, she says. Talking about me behind my back, which there is no proof of. Not calling when I tell you my father is dying. Huge thing. Absolutely huge. And I need to have that in. I need Lisa to speak to that. Then the last one she says is canceling my makeup artist on me at the 11th hour in the height of a global pandemic when I couldn't get somebody else. I really need more context in that one. What happened? There has to be more context on this one. What happened? Okay, we're going to keep it moving. Now Whitney says something like, how do we move forward? How do we move forward? And then Heather starts talking about like how they're a group of women, and I don't really understand what this transition was. So here's my theory. They knew this wasn't going to resolve itself. So some producer stepped in and said, guys, we do just need to wrap up this trip. So can we do like a little kumbaya type of wrap up scene? And for some reason, Heather deems herself as that person. So Heather tries to use her eye as a metaphor. Okay? So they cut to the confessional and a producer says, so you don't remember how it happened. And Heather's offended. I didn't say that. I never said that. I never said I didn't remember how it happened. I just said I'm not talking about it. First rule of Fight Club. And so then Whitney asks back at the table, she goes, how did you get a black eye? Heather says, if anyone does a secret knock on your door, don't answer. She says, to be fair, I'm still unclear on exactly what happened with my eye. I don't want to talk about it. Back to her confessional. Producer asks, who's she trying to protect? Heather says, myself. Okay. All right, so I'm going to play a clip from the after show because I went immediately to the after show to see how they were going to answer to this. And this is how I compiled clips together with regard to the black eye, the clips that stuck out the most. Okay.
Heather, we need to know what happened after everyone went to sleep.
Well, we'd love to discuss it, but I ended up with the black eyes. So unfortunately, it's privileged information.
Sorry. I represent Heather Gay.
Do you want to set the record straight about what happened with your eye?
No, she doesn't.
I have to defer anything about that period of time to my attorney, Meredith Marks Esquire. She represents me.
Did anyone notice Jen's behavior? Like she was shook
she
and
was
she was
off.
on her phone, rapidly texting the entire time, and then she'd occasionally interject.
I was watching Jen, and she was very off. She was very quiet. She just had a look that it's not her normal energy, and just really, she was not present. Her mind was elsewhere. And I just thought, she knows something, and they are not coming clean.
So do other people know for a fact what happened to you?
I don't think she can answer that question.
Best legal advice out there. Costs a pretty penny. Can't be steered wrong. You know, it's as dumb as it sounds. I just wanted to minimize it. It had been a pretty rough girls trip. Bless you. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
God bless. I truly felt a little bit broken, a little bit beat up, figuratively and physically. And I just thought, just get through it. Just time to make the donuts. Time to get up. Time to make the donuts. Just get through this. And I just wanted to minimize it and try to salvage the trip for what it was. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to make the trip about my black eye, honestly. I didn't want any more feigned concern about me or my eye. Nobody gave a shit. So let's just move on. I never have boundaries, ever. And I'm just having a boundary, and I just wanted to see if people would respect it. Spoiler alert.
Honestly, though, you guys, it's unbelievable. Okay, let me go through some other things that came up that I found interesting at the after show before I wrap us up. So, Lisa's hot mic moment came up, and producer asks Meredith what she needs to move forward. And Meredith had the audacity to say, I was hoping to find a level of understanding for her behavior. Okay, Lisa has told you multiple times why she was mad, why she was upset and why she said that. And Lisa is also saying that she's never once spoken badly about Meredith, and she says not to any of the ladies, and not even to my own husband. So there's no footage of Lisa being involved in any bad Meredith conversations. So I believe that. Another thing that came up was there's a whole segment of the after show. Did Meredith say Lisa had mental health problems? Meredith, because one of her big things that she's an advocate for is mental health awareness, etc. And so she says what she meant. And mind you, she's in her after show was with Heather, and even Heather in that moment was like, "Ooh, don't say that, Meredith." She was right there saying, "Don't say that." And so Meredith's like, "What I meant was go work more with a shaman, go see a fitness trainer, go see a life coach, see a therapist. Get a friendship you find fulfilling for yourself. Work on your marriage. Work on a gazillion things. Or how about get an exorcist? It's enough." She is off her fucking rocker, you guys. So Lisa says Meredith was never a lawyer. She has a law degree, but she never practiced law. So the fact that she's using all these semantics and words to deny, like, oh, I never said you had mental health problems. I said I'm not a doctor. She's like, I don't know how many more Meredith mindfucks I can take. Not wrong. Not wrong. Because when you watch the clip, she's like, if you are willing to get help for yourself, Lisa, then I will work with you or something. And Lisa goes, what kind of help do I need? She's like, well, I'm not a doctor, so what else are you supposed to pull from that? And then again, though, they go back to Meredith, and Meredith's being so crazy in this after show. She's like, I would never question someone's mental health. And then they would cut back to Lisa, who's now talking about how Meredith never gets over anything. Like, you do one thing and she will harp on it forever. And that she's yelled at me a bunch of times. And they do like a little compilation of times that Meredith's gotten in her face and yelled at her about other things. And then they go back to Meredith and she's still on the, I would never question Lisa's mental health because I never would. And then at one point, Heather like laughs because it's like so extreme the way Meredith's handling it. And Meredith laughs because Heather's laughing. And then Heather uses Meredith's line, love you, baby. Bye. And it's so bad. Like, it doesn't land, doesn't hit. It's an unhinged, like anytime they go to their part of the after show, you know you're going to get off, unhinged, uncomfortable, cringy, icky vibes. Let me see, what else did they talk about? They talked about the SEC filing, but it's just really not that big of a deal, really. Angie says that right before the San Diego trip, Jen was sending her information on Heather's shady business. Jen was trying to expose Heather to Angie, but then like a few days later, here Jen is trying to expose Lisa with Heather. So for Angie, that's kind of why the van ride was weird. She's like, you were just, and Angie goes, you just called Heather a lying bitch ass hoe. And now here you are trying to be like, yeah, Lisa's, you know, whatever. Whitney also claims that Meredith created a troll account to say that someone heard Whitney in a bar talking about Lisa's SEC filing. Meanwhile, Whitney didn't even know what an SEC filing was. So she's like, that isn't even accurate. Trying to basically pass off the blame and say that it was Whitney who gave Meredith the information. Again, Meredith's trying to deflect and make it seem like she isn't the one who's being petty. Let me see. What else did we get from that? Okay, that was it. That was the bulk of the after show. So yeah, Salt Lake City is really ending in a flop. Big belly flop. We've got Jen with the, I won't even say what she did last week, but I have all the notes that I took for the recap for last week, but I'm not even going to touch it. It's not even necessary. The way it didn't even really carry over into this week's episode, and then the way this week's episode is going. I remember when we got that mid-season trailer, and I was so bummed because I really enjoyed the season up to that point. I thought it was funny. I thought we were getting interesting interactions, but single-handedly, well, I guess no, double-handedly, Jen and Heather, and a little bit Meredith too, but Meredith isn't powerful enough. But Jen and Heather, their toxic levels are high enough, and their moves and their strategies are dark enough to where we don't even know what to do with the rest of this show. Like, what do you guys want from us? The cast is like, huh? You are sitting here with the black eye, and we're all supposed to pretend it's funny that you don't want to tell us, but you know what happened, but you don't know what, oh wait, you do? Wait, so why is it funny that you're mocking us with it? Like, how do you move on from that? That isn't something, again, just say you fell if you really didn't want to talk about it. It's that simple. So you want us to know something happened that you don't want to talk about. So when is this over? You know? Yeah. Well, that's that. Oh, by the way, if you're watching, if you can't tell what this is Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras shirt. I got it at one of his shows. If you do get a chance to go, you should go. Like, he isn't the best vocalist by any means. It's a funny show. It's an entertaining show. And Tom Sandoval is legitimate. Like, he loves fans. And if any of the Vanderpump Rules people are there, like if Ariana's there, she is the nicest person in the world. And when it comes to like meeting fans, she's so gracious and kind. She accidentally spilled wine on my sister, and couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been sweeter. The two of them are legit nice people. Like, anyone who's bumped into them can say the same thing. They're not putting it on for any reason either. They're just like nice people. So, isn't this a funny shirt? Anywho, love you guys. Mean it. See you next time. Bye. Hi guys, thank you so much for listening and for watching. If you wouldn't mind, if you are listening, could you please leave a 5-star rate and review? That would be amazing. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, like this video, and comment below. That would also be fantastic. Don't forget, I've got the Patreon up and running now. That is where all the Bravo jams will be covered. I'm talking table flip. I'm talking old school Atlanta. I'm talking old school Beverly Hills. All the good stuff that brought us together as Bravo fans. And of course, follow me on social media if you're not already at She Speaks Bravo on TikTok and on Instagram. And if you want to go that extra mile to support me, buy me a coffee, or 2, or 5 at buymeacoffee.com/SheSpeaksBravo. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.